Welcome back to HPL. We just saw Superjj get a 1-0 lead over Dog here in Game 1, and just the nightmare scenario for Dog. Queued up Freeze Mage and ran into Control Warrior. Just an unwinnable matchup if they really know what they're doing and draw okay.
Yeah, pretty much the last matchup that you want to see, especially if they open up double Armor Smith, Acolyte of Pain,
Shield Block.
Cruel Taskmaster, Shield Blocks, and Shield Maidens. I mean, his life total got so high that there just was no way for Dog to have the time to deal damage, especially because the pressure that was coupled from Shield Maiden, Ragnaros, Gromish. I mean, you name it, everything just went in Superjj's way.
Yeah, I think Superjj got over 60 life in that game. He had, 32, 36 points of armor there, and there's just not enough damage in Dog's deck. But we're gonna have to see what they queue up here for Game 2 right here between Superjj and Dog.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious exactly how they adapt to that sort of circumstance. The fact that they can change anything about their decks at any time. They're not restricted in any sort of way. They don't have to submit deck lists or anything like that. They just play whatever they want. And so this one, I would venture to say that Dog has now gotten the better side of this matchup. I mean, for Druid, one of the nightmare scenarios is a very aggressive start from Warlock, and Dog, no shortage of that. He's playing Zoo.
Yeah, and this deck, well, I mean, his opening hand looks absolutely great here. Yeah, he's gonna mulligan this Defender of Argus just to, some more options, maybe get a removal spell early in his hand here, but as you said, it can be an absolute nightmare for Superjj's deck.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a client bug, so we'll get Superjj's perspective up as soon as we can. Yesterday, though, we saw Jab able to tackle the early Knife Juggler with Innervate Keeper of the Grove. That's pretty much the one scenario where Druid astoundingly goes ahead in that matchup.
Yeah, that draw in that game that you're mentioning of, guys, if you haven't seen that one, go back, look for the VODs. It was Superjj's last game in his match yesterday. It was unbelievable draw. Gets
Flame Imp off of that one-card mulligan, too. That's about the best one he wanted to see. No Wild Growth, no Innervate in Superjj's hand, but he does have Keeper of the Grove. So it's going to be a matter of whether or not he's going to be able to survive through the early game pressure and then be able to capitalize on that later on.
Yeah, and Dog just has a great opening here. He's got a couple options. He can Knife Juggler, or he can save it a little bit and just play Imp Gang Boss here. Just in case he's worried about a removal spell, might want to play around Wrath here a little bit, protect his Knife Juggler, get a big turn out of that, and just get this Imp Gang Boss in play that's, a big-time threat minion and just pretty good against Swipe.
Yeah, gonna favor his saving his coin here. He didn't see Wrath on turn 2, didn't see Wild Growth, didn't see Innervate Keeper. I mean, at this point, he's kind of free to really, go to town on Superjj here. It's gonna occupy his turn 3, which isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to
Sergeant.
Yeah, he doesn't have to worry about things like Swipe here next turn either. If Superjj were to swipe him, it would involve an Innervate, and I think Dog would, he wouldn't be happy about it, but getting both of those cards for most of his board here would be okay.
Yeah, gonna get 3 points of damage out of this Knife Juggler, plus the extra damage from the trigger ability. And Flame Imp at this point is about to get in its 6th point of damage. This is starting to turn into a major threat at this point. He's got Void Terror with Power Overwhelming, so he's going to be able to push through minions and make a gigantic Void Terror. I mean, once he sees Keeper of the Grove, I believe that's going to be his game plan moving forward. So this is looking like an excellent start from Dog. I mean, how can you get better than this, really?
Yeah, it's an excellent start from Dog, and what you're going to see from Superjj is he's going to Keeper of the Grove here on the next turn, then probably play Loatheb on turn 5 unless he gets a better option here. This might change some stuff for turn 5 since he drew a Wrath, but he's going to Keeper here. What he's trying to do is he's going to try to stave off as much damage as he can until turn 6 and hope to God this Force of Nature can clear up enough of this board.
Yeah, Dr. Boom being added into Dog's hand too. I mean, this is dire straits for Superjj at this point. One of the risks that's actually involved with going Power Overwhelming Void Terror in this matchup is that Druids will often find themselves with big game hunters. So to open yourself and be vulnerable to that kind of position, that's something that he's going to take into account. May not be using his Power Overwhelming, maybe looking to save it for something like a Druid of the Claw so he can push through a taunt very easily.
Yeah, that is a very good point. I think you will see him, unless he really just wants to push the action here, you will see him actually save the Power Overwhelming for something like that situation. I think one of the only ways he loses from this spot is if he gets big game hunted from here. You're just opening yourself up to that kind of a recovery play, because Superjj can do something like Big Game Hunter Wrath next turn. All you would have to do is top deck this Big Game Hunter, and you could be in big, big trouble. But we're going to see a 6 power Void Terror here.
Yeah, love the fact that he's absorbing this Flame Imp. Not only is it not vulnerable to that Keeper of the Grove attack and something in the face of like a Wrath on the Void Walker there, but also provides just big enough of a threat that it's very awkward for Superjj to have to deal with it. Swipe couldn't deal with it.
Can't swipe, yeah.
Yeah, and then Sludge Belcher, pretty much the only threat that was going to oppose anything to Dog at this point, but with Power Overwhelming and the Imp Gang Boss, he's going to push through it very easily.
Yeah, this is a great Power Overwhelming turn. He's going to get to really trade up his creature. What a good draw by Superjj last turn. This Sludge Belcher really slowing down Dog, but this Power Overwhelming is going to keep him moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't think that Superjj's really got the gas to deal with this kind of board pressure moving forward. Short of something like Swipe, I don't see him being able to get back in this game. He's kind of in the same situation that Dog was last game, where it's one of these nightmare matchups that you just really don't want to face. His draw overall wasn't spectacular in this game. Did have Keeper of the Grove, a very key card, but didn't have Wild Growth, Innervate, or Wrath to make sure he could safely get to that point.
Yeah, he's trying to decide between playing a Haunted Creeper and a Knife Juggler here, just going through all the permutations of what is the worst thing that could happen to me next turn, what is the worst thing for me over the next turn. And yeah, he's gonna kick off this slime token here and get in 6 damage, putting Superjj 2/6. Superjj is in a lot of pain right now.
Yeah, 1 mana short of being able to Ancient Lore and heal himself, but I don't even know if the heal would be enough right now. He's just facing down the 6 points of repetitive damage from this Void Call. I'm sorry, this Void Terror, and Force Nature can wipe out the Void Terror now, and the Keeper of the Grove can pick off the 1/1 token, but then he's still facing down 3 points of damage. That's 50% of his life right now.
Yeah, he'd be facing down 3 points of damage, and Dog has a Knife Juggler plus hero power behind that. You gotta believe that Dog, if he wouldn't be able to finish him off this turn, that he would put him in a position where he can't win anymore after the turn after that.
Yeah, so just gonna go with using his Keeper to get things done here. Understands that this extra point of damage really isn't that big of a deal, and that he needs some sort of threat on board that maybe could protect him, and Piloted Shredder could be it, but again, just a little bit short on all fronts here. So Void Caller gets picked up now, and that's a pretty good draw. I mean, just any sustainable threat at this point is good for Dog. He's going to choose to diversify here.
I like this. I like doing this first, though. If you get to see where the dagger goes, if the dagger goes, I'm sorry, the knife, yeah, if the knife goes to the face, you can actually, there's a couple different plays you can make.
Oh, he's actually got a 25% chance he can end this game this turn,
I was going to say, if you just start attacking his minions, you get extra minions yourself here, and if another dagger goes upstairs.
Oh, wow. Oh, just barely misses it. But Superjj going to choose to trade into that now. Lightwell?
Wow, Lightwell's actually going to gain Superjj some life here. Well, actually, if he attacks the Lightwell, now he's only got a 50% chance of the Lightwell gaining him life, and it doesn't. It heals itself. What a traitor that Lightwell is.
Yeah, I mean, just, it's going to heal a random one, and Force Nature again. He can kill 3 of these minions. He's still facing down 3 points of damage afterwards, though. So can, in theory, stay alive this turn as well, and that's exactly what he's going to do. I mean, you have to do what you got to do.
Yeah, you are a Druid deck. Crazy things happen. You have a ton of really expensive, powerful spells and cards that you get to play. So yeah, you should definitely just keep playing this out. Dog is going to Dr. Boom this turn unless he draws a card that, well, there we go.
He draws Power Overwhelm. He's going to end this one. And sort of the reverse situations for this game. Superjj got the great matchup in the first one, but Dog got a great one in this one and had a very strong start to couple with that. So easily picking up this victory here in game 2.
Yeah, Dog evens the match here at 1-1. You know what? They're queuing up pretty well against each other. They're getting really, really good timing on their queues. Nightmare matches on both sides so far.
Yeah, it's the last thing you want to see for the losing side of the battle. The fact that both these players have been dealing such massive damage, and then kind of, we saw Dog pick that up in game 2, and then in game 1, Superjj was able to pad his life total way out of reach of Dog. We're seeing that kind of be a little bit of a sub-focus here in this matchup as well. Not just a team fight, but also them both fighting against the styles that their opponents can potentially bring.
Yeah, so for game 3 here, I want to see a real game. We've seen 2 kind of blowouts here so far. So hopefully in game 3, we get a real boxing match between these 2 guys. We see them both at the top of their game.
Yeah, I would love to see it go back and forth and have them really put to the test on how they're going to do that. If you guys want to check out what they've played in the past and maybe get a glimpse in what you expect in this next game, you can head over to pvplive.net and see for yourself their full competitive breakdowns, their strategies, and more importantly, how they've played them. Guys, when we come back, it's all tied up at 1 game apiece, but someone's going to be taking the lead in this one. So don't go anywhere. Game 3 is going to be getting underway right after this. You're watching Hearthstone on PvP Live.